got to keep track of these guys. We have some new toys. We're trying to maneuver. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Dana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Dana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Dana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Dana Vallabha Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yamuna Tira Vanastari Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yamuna Tira Vanastari Yamuna Tira Vanastari Yamuna Tira Vanastari Yamuna Tira Vanastari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Srila Paramahamsa Privradgacharya Stotra Satta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhai Charan Narvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki
Jai.
Skandagiti Founder Acharya Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki
Jai.
Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki
Jai.
Harinam Sankirtan Ki
Jai.
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki
Jai.
Danitai Gaur Pimanande all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada Ki. Om Abhyanatinirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Tachurandilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadudam Paritana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sukideve Pranamani Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswati Vyasam
Tato Jaya Mudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayasha Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within a heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nisreya Sayalokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat. The Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya,
Shri Krishna Chaitanya,
Prabhu Nityananda,
Prabhu Nityananda,
Sri Advaita Gadadhara,
Shri Advaita Gadadhara,
Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta
Shri
Vrinda,
Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya,
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 Om Sarabhyai Namaha,
Om Surabhyaya Namaha,
Om Sarabhyai Namaha,
Om Surabhyaya Namaha,
Om Sarabhyai Namaha,
Om Surabhyaya Namaha,
Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangom Langayate Girim Yat Kripat Maham Bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Yat Kripat Maham Bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to our morning Srimad Bhagavatam discourse. We are continuing from Canto number 2, Canto number 2, Chapter 1, which is entitled The First Step in God Realization. And today we're looking at text number 9. This is a conversation between Parikshit Maharaj, who has been asking questions to Shukadeva Goswami, Ganga, Yamuna, after being cursed by a Brahmin boy. So this is where we are in this kind of Leela. What is it? Change. Okay. We should not do like yesterday. Okay. Okay. Right. So text number 9. Prinistito, parinistito, api, nairgunya, uttama, sloka, lilaya, grihita, cheta, rajarshe, akyanam, yad, aditavan, parinistitopi nairagunya, uttama shlokalilaya, dihita cheta rajarshe, akyanam yad adhitavan, parinistitopi nairgunya, uttama shlokalilaya, grihita chitta rajarshe, akyanam yad aditavan, parinistitopi nairagunya, uttama shlokalilaya, grihita chitta rajarshe, akyanam yad aditavan,
परिनिष्ठितोऽपि नैर्गुण्या
उत्तमश्लोकलीलया
उत्तमश्लोकलीलया
विविधचेता राजर्षे
गृहीतचेता राजर्षे
आख्यानं यत् अधीतवान्
आख्यानं यत् अधीतवान् परिनिष्ठितोऽपि नैर्गुण्या उत्तम श्लोकलीलया गृहीतचेता राजर्षे आख्यानं यदधीतवान्
परिनिष्ठितोऽपि नैर्गुण्या उत्तमश्लोके लीलया गृहीतचेतराजर्षे आख्यानं यद् अधीतवान्
परिनिष्ठितोऽपि नैर्गुण्या उत्तमश्लोकलीलया गृहीतचेतराजर्षे आख्यानं यत् अधीतवान्
Ladies.
परिनिष्ठितोऽपि
नैर्गुण्या
उत्तम श्लोकलीलया
उत्तमश्लोकलीलया गृहीतचित्तराजर्षे आख्यानं यदधीतवान् Parinistitah, fully realized, api, in spite of, nirgunye, in transcendence, uttama, enlightened, shloka, verse, lilaya, by the pastimes, grihita, being attracted, chetah, attention, rajarshi, O saintly king, akyanam, delineation, yat, that, aditavan, I have studied. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Sridham Prabhupada Ki. O saintly king, I was certainly situated perfectly in transcendence, yet I was still attracted by the delineation of the pastimes of the Lord, who is described by enlightened verses. Kindly repeat after me. O saintly king, I was certainly situated perfectly in transcendence, yet I was still attracted by the delineation of the pastimes of the Lord, who is described by enlightened verses. Purport. The Absolute Truth is realized as the impersonal Brahman at the first instance by philosophical speculation, and later as the Supersoul by further progress of transcendence. But if, by the grace of the Lord, by the superior statements of Srimad Bhagavatam, he is also converted into a transcendental devotee of the personality of Godhead. With a poor fund of knowledge, we cannot adjust to the idea of the personality of the Absolute Truth and the personal activities of the Lord are deplored by the less intelligent impersonalists. But reasons and arguments together with the transcendental process of approaching the Absolute Truth, help even the staunch impersonalist to become attracted by the personal activities of the Lord. A person like Shukadeva Goswami cannot be attracted by any mundane activity. But when such a devotee is convinced by a superior method, he is certainly attracted by the transcendental activities of the Lord. The Lord is transcendental, as are his activities. He is neither inactive nor impersonal. Translation again. O saintly king, I was certainly situated perfectly in transcendence, yet I was still attracted by the delineation of the pastimes of the Lord, who is described by enlightened verses. So there are different levels of transcendence. There are different levels of spiritual realization. Here Parikshit Maharaj is hearing from Shukadeva Goswami how, as described actually in the Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami, who is the son of Srila Vyasadeva, was already firmly situated in transcendence, even within the womb of his mother. Quite unusual, but we have various examples in the Bhagavatam. Prahlad Maharaj, also within the womb, received transcendental knowledge from Narada Muni and the residents of Narada Muni's ashram. Prahlad Maharaj was asked by his schoolmates, "You're one of us, you're a demon like us, born in demon family. Why you speak all this knowledge? Where do you get this knowledge from?" And then he explained how he had received it, he had heard while within the womb. It's proven scientifically actually that within the womb, the type of transcendental sound, the type of sound, material sound or transcendental sound, actually affects the consciousness of that particular living entity. So this was the case actually for Shukadeva Goswami also. We are told he remained in the womb of his mother for 16 years. Rather unusual. Fearing to come out because he knew that Maya is very strong. Maya will catch me. So he didn't want to be born. He didn't want to take birth. And he only accepted or decided, okay, to take birth after hearing from his father, Srila Vyasadeva. He became attracted to the subject matter described actually in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The first rendering of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the first time that the Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken actually was to Shukadeva Goswami. And then of course the first time he spoke it is what we are reading here to Parikshit Maharaj. And in that great assembly of devotees, mostly different kings who had come on the banks of the Ganga, and also various saintly personalities, very exalted personalities like Narada Muni was present, Srila Vyasadeva was present, different demigods were also present, and yet it was this young 16-year-old boy who was chosen to actually give instructions to Parikshit Maharaj, who was destined to die within 7 days. So here Shukadeva Goswami is explaining how he was already in what is called the Brahma-bhuta platform. Brahma-bhuta prasanatma. Prasanatma, the Atma is totally satisfied. Na sochati, na kanchati, no material hankering, no lamentation. Not affected by the modes of material nature. That's a actually very elevated transcendental level. Most living entities in the material world cannot even attain that preliminary level of realization, which basically begins with, I am not this body. A sentence that Prabhupada again and again would be repeating. The beginning of transcendental knowledge that we are different from this body. Aham Brahmasmi, I am spirit in nature. So the Bhagavatam actually explains, that's why the Bhagavatam is so important and so attractive. It explains higher levels of transcendence. Therefore, higher levels of realization, which means also higher levels of ananda. Those who are impersonalists, Srila Shukadeva Goswami was impersonalist. They do experience ananda. I mean, even karmis experience ananda. Materialistic people also experience ananda. But that ananda is very, very different from the ananda, the real ananda that the atma, the soul, is seeking. The soul, we are that spirit soul, is seeking a permanent, and not only permanent, but ever increasing, a permanent, ever increasing happiness, satisfaction. And this is what is being conveyed here actually. This is what Shukadeva Goswami himself experienced when he heard the transcendental activities and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which for most impersonalists is not attractive, cannot be attractive until and unless they meet a personality like Shukadeva, like Shukadeva Goswami. After meeting a personality or hearing from his father, Srila Vyasadeva, who was Srila Vyasadeva. This is also nicely described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a whole lila that is there. Srila Vyasadeva is described as the literary incarnation, specifically incarnated to put into writing all the Vedic knowledge, which up until that time was only received through oral reception by hearing. But for the for the benefit of the people of Kali Yuga, who are very fallen and very unqualified in so many ways, these literatures were presented by this particular incarnation, Srila Vyasadeva, and although he put into writing initially all of the Vedic knowledge, all of the various Puranas and Upanishads, so many, they're all described actually in the beginning of the Tattva Sandarbha, the first of 6 Sandarbhas written by Srila Jiva Goswami. Who is, of course, also Srila Jiva Goswami, blessed and empowered by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and by the Goswamis, especially by Srila Rupa and Srila Sanatan Goswami, empowered to actually present and explain why Srimad Bhagavatam is so dear to the Vaishnavas. We were reading that verse just yesterday, actually, how the Srimad Bhagavatam is the culmination of all of the Vedic knowledge that Srila Vyasadeva wrote in his mature level. Means after writing all the Vedic knowledge, somehow we have competition. We should have a note under the verse here, kindly put your, silent mode or airplane mode or whatever. Yeah. So, the writings of, the writings of Srila Vyasadeva, which culminate in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the writings of our Goswamis in Vrindavan are a source of anyone who comes in contact actually with these writings, even though he may be impersonalist, he is bound to actually have a change of heart, which is one of the chapters also in the Bhagavatam. when we are, it's only when we are fortunate to come in contact with someone who's actually a devotee. I mean, majority of us have become devotees, have come in contact with someone who's a practicing devotee. And there's at least one or maybe more individuals who have been instrumental in actually bringing us to accepting and beginning to appreciate and to understand and to realize the subject matter, which is very unique and very special, that is presented throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam, and that is connected with what is described here, Uttama Shloka. So, Uttama Shloka, very profound, elevated descriptions which are directly describing actually the highest, most what we call esoteric level of transcendental knowledge, which of course culminates in knowing and understanding and realizing that the absolute truth is not just knowledge in itself, is not just some kind of vague energy, etc., but actually is a personality, is a person. And inasmuch as we are persons who become attracted to other persons, isn't it? We are persons who actually need the presence and need to interact. We derive pleasure, we derive satisfaction in establishing relationships. You know, the whole world is revolving on the principle. I mean, songwriters have written and continue to write songs on the topic of love. One of them is called "Love is what makes the world go round." The topics of love are the most attractive topics in the material world. Material love. But material love is actually simply a reflection of the original love. Whatever exists in the material world is but a reflection of what exists in the spiritual world, and it is all emanating actually from that one Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can only be revealed when we come in contact with personalities who are having that understanding or that level of realization. We were citing that very well known verse which we find in the first canto of the Bhagavatam, which is directly one of various verses establishing these different levels of transcendence. And it's of course connected with the subject matter of tattva. Vedanti tattva vidam tattvam yas jnanam advayam brahmiti paramatmiti bhagavaniti sabjate. These three levels of, they're all transcendental levels, but they bring us to different realization. So it is nicely explained how unless and until one comes to that level, to that topmost level, which is actually the level of bhakti, of devotional service, then one will not actually be fulfilled. One will not actually be Bhukti, Mukti, Siddhi, Kami, Sakale, Ashanta. There's Shanti and there's Ashanti. Shanti means happiness. So, only those who are fortunate to come in contact with the essence of the Bhagavatam, which is bhakti or devotional service. It is described as the param dharma. Savai pumsam paro dharma. Jato bhakti ratho chaje ahaituki pratihata yagatma suprasidati. The Atma can only become fully happy and satisfied. Not only the Jivatma, because Atma refers also to the body and to the mind. So the body, the bodily necessities of life, the necessities, emotional needs. We all have emotional needs. We have physical, bodily needs. We have emotional needs. We have also spiritual needs. All those can only be fully satisfied when we come in contact. That's why the Bhagavatam is like, without the Bhagavatam, without the understanding and putting into practice and realizing the content, the essence of the Bhagavatam, no living entity actually can be satisfied. Veda means knowledge, the essence of knowledge, isn't it? Is what is presented in the pages of the Bhagavatam. And because a personality like Parikshit, like Shukadeva Goswami, of course Parikshit Maharaj could especially relish and understand the topic because he was already situated actually on the path of bhakti, of devotional service. So therefore, this is the that is called highest welfare. Actually, in one lecture, Prabhupada mentions now this is one of the professions, social work. People get a master's in social work or a doctorate in social work. So Prabhupada, one lecture was telling, real social worker is when one becomes a preacher of Bhagavatam, when one becomes an actual devotee and takes this knowledge, accepts this knowledge of Bhagavatam. This is the real way that one can actually give the highest benefit actually to human society. So that's why we are especially, we means our Vaishnava Acharyas have especially focused, our whole Guru Parampara is focused on the importance of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Not only importance of the Srimad Bhagavatam in terms of distribution, which was the main focus in the early days, book distribution. Of course, it remains a focus, it remains a very important activity, will always remain a most important activity to make this knowledge available. But these transcendental literatures, especially the Srimad Bhagavatam, are also meant to be read regularly, they're meant to be studied regularly, and what's the fourth thing we're supposed to do with these transcendental literatures?
Distribute.
We mentioned that one. Distribute, yeah, that's the first one. That was the main focus in the early days of our movement. Up until one day when Prabhupada has a question, or he told everyone, I'm so happy that you are so enthusiastic to distribute my books. And everyone was feeling very proud and happy. Then Prabhupada has a question, are you reading my books? and very few actually raised their hand. They were absorbed in distributing the books, but not reading. So everyone started reading books a bit more. Then after some years, one devotee asked, Well, it's very nice to distribute books. It's wonderful also to read the books. But who is studying the books? You know, not so many people are studying the books.
Understanding while reading.
Understanding, yes. The fourth one I want to come to.
Applying.
Applying. Living the content of these books. And of course, living the content of these books ultimately means living like Krishna. And like Krishna descends in the material world to show us how we're supposed to live, isn't it? And all of his activities, Prabhupada makes reference to this in the purport also. Janma karma samet divyam, his appearance and his activities are all transcendental. And because his activities are all transcendental, therefore not at all affected or subject to the influence of the mode of material nature. So likewise, if we learn to follow in the same footsteps, if we also live the way that Krishna demonstrated when he appeared and performed his pastimes, especially in, where? Vrindavan. Yeah. Krishna performed his pastimes in three main places: Vrindavan,
Dwarka and
Navadvip, Mathura, yes. Actually, Krishna performs his pastimes everywhere, but especially in Vrindavan, then Mathura, then Dwarka. But when Krishna is in Mathura and Dwarka, he's not satisfied. He's not happy. His mind is disturbed. And the queens in Dwarka, they notice this. Something's wrong with Krishna. I mean, nothing can be wrong with Krishna. But Krishna is what's the word? Absent-minded sometimes. He's here, but he's not here. You know. And then, of course, that's a whole. Krishna cannot be happy, cannot be fully happy. Krishna is happy. It is described. He is happy in Mathura. He's more happy in Dwarka, but he's most happy in Vrindavan. Yeah. His interaction with devotees are perfect in Mathura, more perfect in Dwarka, and most perfect in Vrindavan. So Vrindavan, although Krishna is in those other places, Mathura and Dwarka, he cannot forget, because the highest level of transcendence, and this is what is conveyed by Srila Vyasadeva and what is going to be explained actually by Shukadeva Goswami, are actually these different pastimes of Krishna, especially in Vrindavan. That is the culmination actually of the teachings of the Srimad Bhagavatam that are later described, of course, in the 10th canto. Pastimes. These are the pastimes that especially Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, isn't it? And the last 12 years, especially the last 12 years of the manifest pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya was fully, completely absorbed in those pastimes of Krishna, of Radha and Krishna actually in Vrindavan. And he was assisted especially by two personalities, Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy, in actually tasting. Lord Chaitanya was tasting, relishing, being fully absorbed in those transcendental pastimes of the Lord. So of course, Prabhupada makes the point, it's not only those pastimes of the Lord that are attractive, all of Krishna's pastimes because they are transcendental. Even this whole material manifestation is also very attractive. It's so attractive that actually vast majority of people become enamored by the beauty of this material world and so many wonderful things that are there, but not knowing, not understanding that it is but a reflection, isn't it? That's what, when Arjuna asked Krishna to show his Virat Rupa, his universal form, then he was totally, Krishna showed his universal form, which is beyond our conception, beyond our imagination, but Arjuna requested him after some time, please, I want to see your original transcendental personal form. So the nature, this is what is meant to be the main topic of discussion, the main topic of attraction for all of us, what is called the absolute truth, the nature of the absolute truth, which is manifest in so many different ways, and these are nicely presented throughout the pages of the Bhagavatam. And these are they're actually accessible to everyone, but only to those who are fortunate to actually come in contact with persons who have taken up the practice of pure devotional service. I will read the text again. O saintly king, I was certainly situated perfectly in transcendence, yet I was still attracted by the delineation of the pastimes of the Lord, who is described by enlightened verses. Any comments or questions on this? You ready? This time? Just check, we'll see. Yeah. Everyone is situated in transcendence. Yes.
Как можно ученым, людям, которые с ученым складом характера, профессорам всяких наук, объяснить практичность этого знания, что я не это тело? Они все говорят, что в основном это актуально только когда мы умираем.
Guru Maharaj, how can we explain to people with, for scholars, people with scientific set of mind, that we are not this body? Because they say that this is only practical when we are living this body, when we are dying.
How can we explain to people who are...
Scientific set of mind, that we are not this body?
Yes. Good question. What would you answer?
Prabhupada mentioned logic
Logic.
and arguments plus transcendental taste.
Transcendental. But here Prabhupada mentions yes.
So we have to analyze that sentence of Prabhupada and see how he is explaining it in other purpose, how we convince persons who have brain, who have logic, who have different understanding of different topics, but they are not attracted to the transcendence and until no. So we need to make them this topic attractive on their own language, on their own experience. So we can see that older scientists mostly become God believers also before they were atheists. So we can quote from them why they become convinced that there is a transcendental entity behind all these scientific explanations. So then we can ask, do you want to study that topic when these scientists understood the transcendences should be there? And then we can quote transcendental scientists from the Bhagavatam. There are different topics which are scientifically explaining this material world, and that would be attractive for them. Like in the 20s in the time when there wasn't, what is this, how do you say that the 20s of the millennium, the millennium of 20s, there was German scientists, they were physicists, and they started to study the Vedas, and they found the impersonal Veda explanation about the world, and they found out it's very attractive because they could understand the more subtle level of the matter. But if someone contacted them and they can explain that behind this impersonal knowledge, there is a person with this intelligence, and then we have to understand that person also, not just the science of the person, which is the creation. So I would say in this line.
Yes, actually, because such persons have good brain, I mean, are on the intellectual platform. One time, Rasaraj Prabhu, for those who may not know, Rasaraj Prabhu is a scientist, actually. We have devotee scientists. From the very beginning, we've had devotees who are very intellectual, very scholar, and so he's one of them. He was giving a class explaining how actually for many people, especially for those who are like more intellectual, explaining how this, explaining the material manifestation, the cosmic manifestation, and how it's working in very, in ways that are not so easy to understand, but it's like, all of these stars that are out there, when at nighttime we can see, they're still there, we can't see them now, but they don't collide with one another. There's some kind of system, some kind of arrangement that is totally beyond our control. He was making the point basically that this is one approach, especially for those who are in that kind of mindset, we could say, or intellectual set, to present various aspects of the cosmic manifestation, various sciences that are there, and that will help them or prepare them to actually come to accept that there's some intelligence. What is it called? Creation by design, by intelligence, which is actually has become a popular type of philosophy accepted by a number of people, which is very close to the Bhagavatam understanding, let's say, and which can ultimately more easily bring one to accept that, okay, there's some intelligence, and Prabhupada says if there's intelligence, there has to be a person, isn't it? Yes.
Maharaj, I wanted to make a comment that in regard to Prabhuji's question,
Yeah.
that the most direct evidence.
Can our photographer? Yeah, okay, yeah.
And the most direct evidence is extensive decades of research by Dr. Stevenson in University of Virginia,
Yes.
where he has documented evidences of children remembering their past lives in much detail. Like a 5-year-old child saying, I was such and such person in my previous life, this was the village or city I lived in, these are my parents. And he went and he verified, oh yeah, there used to be such and such person. There's no way a 5-year-old child could imagine. Right. And this is across races, across nationalities, across all geographies, and there's a decade of documented research. Right. And now I don't know if he's still alive or not, but that field is now officially recognized. And then the research,
which is recognized?
This field of study.
Field.
The domain of study.
Field of study, yeah, correct.
So it's under the Department of Perception within the Medical College at University of Virginia. And now there's Dr. Jim Tucker, who is continuing this research. So this is the most direct evidence that there is the soul which exists separately from the body.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of material and a lot of individuals. He's not the only one.
Yeah, he's not the only one, but he's
correct. Yeah. So it's like mounting evidence, so to speak, that there's something beyond, etc., like that.
Right.
We have the example, of course. I mean, there are many examples. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was an impersonalist, yet because when Lord Chaitanya went to Jagannath Puri, then this personality, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, was the most recognized transcendentalist there, who had hundreds, if not thousands, of disciples as well, and felt compassion upon Lord Chaitanya, thinking that he's such a young sannyasi, so I should help him by instructing him, which he did for 7 days. And that's all nicely described, of course, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then by the association of Lord Chaitanya, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya actually transcended his position of personalism and became he became such a staunch devotee that when he would read the Bhagavatam, if he came across the word mukti, he would want to remove it, or he would say that this is not proper, and Lord Chaitanya had to chastise him one time. No, this is Shastra, you can't change Shastra. Mukti, generally mukti means attaining some level of transcendence, usually by impersonalists, but that's the whole topic, of course. Beyond actual mukti, actual liberation is developing our love for Krishna ultimately. Yes?
Very good question. Prabhuji might be preaching, so when devotees counter with the people who are having scientific mindset, so then they would argue. They would say, counteract, you prove me, what you are saying is true.
Right.
So that's why here Srila Prabhupada, interestingly, he's writing that but reasons and arguments together with the transcendental process of approaching the absolute truth help even the staunch impersonalists. So here, as devotees, we need to just, while studying, as you said, that how many of us are studying? While studying the Srimad Bhagavatam, we get this reasoning also.
Right.
How we can reason. As Srila Prabhupada would also meet so many people.
Right.
And as we have quoted, when Srila Prabhupada was asked, how you can preach us, the death rate in your country is so high. Prabhupada said, but death rate is everywhere 100%.
Yeah. Prabhupada was expert in tarka, in argument.
So that's tarka. Yeah. That's actually part of the education.
So the first level of Vedic science is, we were discussing on Vikshiki, the science of philosophy, which is divided in these three: Sankhya, Yoga, and Tarka. Yeah. When we have actually proper knowledge of both the matter and spirit, and the origin of both, as described in the Bhagavad Gita, it all begins from Bhagavad Gita. Then we can traditionally in India, even now, there's
the schools where they will learn Tark, Nyaya.
Right. It's wonderful actually to see even though I don't understand, I've not studied Sanskrit, but it's wonderful to see people debating in Sanskrit, you know, on subject matters that are there in the Shastra. So yes, argument, logic, and then this, it mentions, right, together with the transcendental process. So part of that transcendental process Prabhupada would always include is give them a rasgulla at the end of the discourse. Give them prasadam. Right? Yes.
Yeah. So there is one line in this, that when science ends, then spirituality starts.
Yes, but scientists won't immediately accept that.
Yeah, they're not accepting, but in practical, there are many scientists also. They have tried many things, but it is practically they have to accept that we cannot do beyond this. There is a certain limitation. So that is happened practically, and they accept that.
Those who are not so stubborn will come to accept that, yes. Yes. But some are staunchly stubborn. He has the mic.
Hare Krishna. So, Prabhuji's question, if we are based on the epistemology of the science, we cannot directly show to the scientists what is that we are not the body. So the only way is to use logic and inference. Using inference. Through inference, we can show some sign proving the presence of consciousness. Because everybody can experience. By our senses, we can experience something. But beyond, there is so many arguments. Just to prove, I want to cut, by inference, we can show. But if we consider the epistemology, we cannot directly show this is the soul, we are different from the soul. The reason why Srila Prabhupada always, he used to shock them. So they take the practice and then you will know. Because if they don't practice, you should practice and get the realization. Then you will know that I'm not the body. But if he does not take the practice, cannot know. And you cannot directly show him through scientific process, direct scientific process based on his epistemology.
And this is supported by the statement that our dear George Harrison, the proof of the pudding is in the tasting. I mean, another way of saying what you're saying, unless we try something out, and very often in the early days we would use this line, Prabhupada I think also used it, that unless you try it, which is what you're saying, unless you try it, you won't understand.
Actually, one thing which kind of catches or they are stunned, all the scientists, are mystic yoga. One of the things which actually scientists they stop there because they cannot do.
Right.
Like in one of the books we are reading, when there were yogis in Delhi and they were exhibiting that, okay, all the doctors, you come, you take my heartbeat and I'll stop it. And they'll stop. And these mystic yogis, they will say, okay, what is my body temperature you take? I'll bring it to a certain level of high or low. And their scientists cannot say anything because with their all devices, they would do and then find out. Like nowadays, now studies are there that you do this type of, say, Brahmari pranayam, and they put all in the brains, and they would find that, okay, you know, your level of the brain or the part of brain, they are awakened, and now how you can do. So these are the things which logically can explain that, okay, you see, this is the process mentioned, and the mystic yoga is also part of that. So that means previously people used to have to go to the Himalaya mountains, and now the yogis come to Delhi, huh? There had been like gathering of these yogis. Even Maharaj, I mean, I have not seen, but I know somebody who has seen gravitational effect, right? We are all sitting and everything falls, and Newton has done.
Yeah.
Now there are people, I'm not saying they are living in Himalaya, they are
Yeah.
who can elevate.
Yeah, anyone who came here a few months ago will experience that we have also become elevated here. Okay, last comment. No. Backside.
Just a follow-up comment on what Prabhuji was saying, we can explain by inference. And I was mentioning, I think about 2 weeks ago, that there was an article in the Atlantic, very reputed journal. The whole article was about how most of the modern science is all based on inference. You look at the atomic model. No one has seen the nucleus, proton, or the quarks. You cannot physically see it, but these are models, right? A lot of things in the space, dark matter, dark energy, everything pretty much, these are all just theoretical models. There's no way to directly, observe a lot of these concepts.
Yes.
And then I think in the punchline at the end of the article, which was, I think, very intuitive, was that the author's father used to always tell her while she was growing up that just because you cannot find Pablo Picasso in his paintings doesn't mean he does not exist. Right? So that means, you cannot directly see the God in his creation.
Right.
That doesn't mean God does not exist.
Yes. And because now it's 7:06, we have, one last comment. It's coming up. No, this will be the last one. Okay, right here.
Thank you. So, the same question, even some other person asked before. And
the same question?
Same question. The science, why we are not believing science and the spirituality, how we will believe. That's the subject. So he answered that if you'll see this sea, the vast sea, or if it is river, big Ganga, all these natural hills. So if all these are here, then must be someone is there who has created this. Someone is there, right? So
show me, prove me.
That is what. That is what Prabhupada. If someone asks how to or show me, the answer Prabhupada here mentioned here. So deals with the spirituality is a higher dimensional science that deals with the fundamental reality of consciousness and the soul, which material science, with its focus on temporary matter and imperfect senses, cannot fully grasp.
Yes, that we understand, but others,
So we are not capable to understand that. So that is it. So we cannot see, if even like when Krishna has shown his form also to only Arjuna, when he is given his that power, then only he can see that. That is what. So we cannot see in very like in this type of our material eyes or vision. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Sri Prabhupada ki, Jai Gaura Pimanandi Hari Hari Bol.